Hello, thank you very much for clicking on this video. I'm going to do a bit of a different video today to what I normally do, where instead of doing something where I'm going to teach some element of English, I'm going to talk about English teachers, why people become English teachers, why specifically I became an English teacher. Well, the truth is, of course, that people become English teachers for all sorts of different reasons, and everyone has a different story. But this is my story. Like many people who become English teachers, I wasn't always an English teacher. I had a different job before. I was a youth worker. Now, a youth worker is someone who works with young people, teenagers, and often these will be people who perhaps don't get on all that well in traditional educational environments like schools and colleges. Or it might have been that they had some kind of problem going on with their family at the time, which interrupted their education. And they need to learn in a different kind of environment, a much more relaxed, informal environment. And a youth worker is not a teacher, but it might be someone who works with them in some kind of education or training, but in a much more relaxed, informal way. And when I was a youth worker, I found that a way to help people relax and reduce their anxiety when they're learning is to make them laugh. And I did that job as a youth worker for about 10 years. And I really loved it. I really did. Sometimes it could be really challenging, but on the whole, I really loved it. And in my kind of heart, I felt this is the right job for me. And then in the UK, we had a change of government. And this government decided that they wanted to make lots of cuts to public services to save money. And so things like youth work, the kind of work that I was doing, the funding that came from the government for this began to be cut very seriously, actually, in a big way. And lots of the jobs doing that kind of work began to go. And I realized that I was going to have to find something else to do. But all the while that I'd been doing youth work, there was something else that I'd been doing in my free time, which ended up helping me when I decided to become an English teacher. So, while I was working as a youth worker, I had a hobby that I did in my free time, and this hobby was called stand-up comedy, which is where you stand up on a stage with a microphone and you tell jokes and you try to make people laugh. And of course, this was fantastic for me because it taught me to be really confident standing up in front of a large group of people. Some people hate doing that kind of thing, don't they? It really panics them, but I learned how to do it without feeling worried at all. And I learned to get better at making people laugh, which is very useful for me, of course, in my job. And I learned to think on my feet, which is where you have to react quickly in situations without having to think about it. Sometimes when you do stand-up comedy, people don't really want to listen to you, or they might shout something at you that's not very nice, and you have to learn how to react to that quickly and try and be funny at the same time. And of course, this was a great skill for me to learn for later on when I became an English teacher, to make people laugh while we're learning English. One thing you may know about English teachers is that we're very lucky because we get the opportunity to travel to all sorts of different countries because people all over the world want to learn English. And I had this real desire to travel. So I decided, because I wasn't really sure if I wanted to be an English teacher. I mean, I really liked the idea of it, but I didn't know if it was really something that I would want to do. I decided to travel for a while and try it out and see if I like it. So I went to Thailand. Now, a lot of people like to go to Thailand for a holiday, but I didn't go there for a holiday. I went there and I volunteered as an English teacher in a university, and I was there for about a year, and it was a really incredible experience. I really got to know about Thai culture. I met so many fantastic Thai people and some really, really amazing students. And this really helped me to realise that teaching English was something that I really wanted to do. And I was there for about a year in Thailand, and after that I spent about 3 months in Cambodia doing quite a similar job. Again, in Cambodia it was amazing. The people were so lovely and they really welcomed me there, and you could really tell that they appreciated me, what I was doing. So I decided there, this is something that I really want to do. I want to be an English teacher. The trouble is, of course, that countries like Thailand and Cambodia are a long way from home for me. They're a long way from my family and friends, and I didn't want to be away from them for that long. So I realised that I needed to go to a country that was much closer to home. And that place was a country called Spain. Now, of course, Spain is much closer to the UK. It's easy to jump on a plane and pop back to see your family at Christmas or other times of the year. And so I moved to Spain, and this is where I did my teaching qualification, my teacher training, in a fantastic city called Seville, or Sevilla, as Spanish people call it. This is one of the greatest cities in the world. I love Seville. So I came to Seville, I did my teacher training, and on the last day of the course, I was offered a job teaching English in a private English academy. So I stayed there. I stayed in Seville, and for the next few years, I taught in English academies to Spanish students. But then things changed. This was because of the coronavirus pandemic, where we couldn't have classes face-to-face anymore. So I changed my English classes to be online. And from that time on, I've been teaching not only Spanish students, but students from all over the world. I mean, so many different countries. And it's been really amazing for me to meet so many different people from so many different places, to learn about their cultures and just get to know them. And one thing in common has always been that I've been able to help them with their English. So now that I look back on the things that I've talked about in this video, I realised that, of course, there's no way I could have known that I was going to end up being an English teacher. But in another way, it does all make some strange kind of sense that I did all those things, and it seemed to lead me here even without my knowledge at the time. And from a certain perspective, it seems like I did those things back then so that I could be an English teacher now. So, as I said before, there are so many reasons why people become English teachers. But these are the reasons why I became an English teacher. If you've stayed with me to this point in the video, thank you so much. I hope I didn't ramble on for too long. And if you are wondering where all these beautiful locations are that I've been filming, they're all in a wonderful city called Swansea in Wales. I've been spending the summer here teaching English, and soon I'm going to be heading back to Seville, and then who knows where the next place on my journey will be. Thank you very much for watching the video, and if you would like to come with me on my journey, please think about subscribing to the channel and you'll be able to keep track of all my videos in the future. Thanks a lot.